Fallout 3 came out late 2008 and was a hit. Plans were quickly made to create a sort of halfway point following it up, a game rather than just an expansion, but not a full-blown new game development like Fallout 4 would be. It'd be much more like Vice City and San Andreas rather than a numbered Grand Theft Auto sequel, but nevertheless it would still be a full game. The idea for this sequel came from Obsidian. Obsidian was founded by people who worked at Black Isle Studios who made the first two Fallout games, and so it's no surprise that their short pitch was all that was required to get them this project. Since Bethesda had plans for the eastern US for the main games, and the first two Fallout games had been set in the West anyway, it was a no-brainer to make this as the sort of overlap between the two. The FPS shooter design that helped make Fallout a hit, and the lore of the originals that inspired such devotion. Obsidian had gained wider recognition by making the sequel to Knights of the Old Republic, likewise utilizing the game engine the way that Fallout New Vegas would later use the Fallout 3 engine. KOTOR 2 had a lot of praise, but was criticized for being buggy and incomplete thanks to the short development period. Fallout New Vegas, on the other hand, received a lot of praise, but was criticized for being buggy and incomplete thanks to the short development period. One of the biggest controversies around the game has to do with Metacritic. There was to be a bonus for Obsidian if the game received a Metacritic score of 85. Fallout New Vegas scored 84. This led to a prevailing view that Bethesda had mistreated Obsidian overall, a view that has been repeated even in recent articles. Although my opinion of gaming journalism is that, to be generous, about 10% are just assholes, 30% think being a game journalist is like being knighted by the Queen of England and act accordingly, and another 20% just want to meet the technical requirement of saying, I'm a gaming journalist. I'm not saying it's undeniable that fewer toxic game journalists would mean fewer toxic gamers. All I'm saying is there's no proof to the contrary. But the fact is that this incident happened when Obsidian was in desperate need of funds, which helped sell the narrative. But Obsidian and Chris Avellone, who worked on both Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas, set the record straight more than once, saying that the 85% Metacritic was not an agreed-upon bonus. That is, they didn't negotiate for something along those lines. Bethesda offered it to them over and above what was already agreed upon for the payment of the game. Obsidian wasn't in any way, shape, or form expecting to get that. It would be what it actually is called, a bonus, if they were to somehow achieve this. A way of saying, you did such a great job, we want to give you an extra cut of the profits. The fact that they fell short of that is disappointing, sure, but it wasn't a sign that they were being mistreated in any way. There was an extra benchmark they fell short of. I was not there, I am not privy to what happened, but from what I have heard from Chris Avellone and others along those lines, it sounds like while there were occasional conflicts, it was nothing that you wouldn't normally expect in this kind of a situation. Nothing that suggested that Bethesda was behaving in any way that was unscrupulous. The biggest criticism that can be lobbed at Bethesda in all of this is that they didn't give Obsidian enough time to make sure the game wasn't going to have problems. Alright, in Fallout 3, we already talked about the background of this world. So let's talk specifically about the area we're going to be in, going back to Fallout 1, actually. The story is that of some poor schmuck who literally drew the short straw. They wound up with the task of heading from Vault 13 to Vault 15 in the hopes of acquiring a replacement for a water chip that had broken, without which survival in the vault would be impossible. What they discover is that Vault 15 opened 20 years after the war, releasing a bunch of malcontents who formed bands of raiders, but also setting the stage for resettlement of the surface world when some formed the town of Shady Sands. When Fallout 2 rolls around, we find out that this city would eventually become the capital of a new society called the New California Republic, or NCR for short, which Ron Perlman tells us was devoted to restoring old world values like democracy and the rule of law. The NCR is by now the major player in the Southwest, having defeated the Brotherhood of Steel because, so I'm told, war never changes. Sure, I'd hate to be that guy. Oh, I am that guy. Oh, shit.
As the Republic grew, so did its needs. Scouts spread east, seeking territory and wealth in the dry and merciless expanse of the Mojave Desert.
If we're very lucky, we'll find a desert, said no one ever.
They returned with tales of a city untouched by the warheads that had scorched the rest of the world, and a great wall spanning the Colorado River. The NCR mobilized its army and sent it east to occupy Hoover Dam and restore it to working condition. But across the Colorado, another society had arisen under a different flag. A vast army of slaves forged from the conquest of 86 tribes, Caesar's Legion.
If they're super intelligent apes, we're screwed. Caesar's Legion tried to take the dam away from the NCR and failed, but they haven't left the area. They're merely gathering strength to try again. They are the biggest adversary to the NCR at this time. Ron Perlman doesn't say it yet, but there is a treaty between the NCR and Mr. House, who runs New Vegas. The fact that New Vegas is in such great condition suggests that there is more to this Mr. House than just being some person who moved in and staked a claim like people usually do. Well, where do I come in all of this?
You are a courier, hired by the Mojave Express to deliver a package to the New Vegas Strip. What seemed like a simple delivery job has taken a turn for the worse.
Look, I understand you want the chip, and you obviously have the means to arrogate it and anything else I might have, but wouldn't it be more expedient to simply depart with it now and avoid this needless excess? I'm merely a courier. I make deliveries. I've no quarrel with you beyond the interference in my essential duties, and hardly in a position to chase after you to try to reclaim it. For was it not Voltaire who said, "Our wretched species is so made that those who walk on the well-trodden path always throw stones at those who are showing a new road"? I ask you, please, parley with me that we might work out some kind of equitable arrangement here, that I might continue to find new roads for people in my role as a courier. Is that possible?
You're awake. How about that? Whoa, easy there, easy. You've been out cold a couple of days now. Why don't you just relax a second? Get your bearings. Let's see what the damage is. How about your name? Can you tell me your name? I can't say it's what I'd have picked for you, but if that's your name, that's your name. I'm Doc Mitchell. Welcome to Goodsprings. Now, I hope you don't mind, but I had to go rooting around there in your noggin to pull all the bits of lead out. I take pride in my needlework, but you'd better tell me if I left anything out of place.
Think had funny biscuits.
Well, I got most of it right anyway. Stuff that mattered. Okay, no sense keeping you in bed anymore. Let's see if we can get you on your feet.
Oh, head rush.
Good. Why don't you walk down to the end of the room, over by that vigor tester machine there.
Oh, I'm fine down there. I didn't get shot in the junk.
Ooh, looking good so far. Go ahead and give the vigor tester a try. You'll learn right quick if you got back all your faculties.
Because Obsidian used the same engine that Bethesda did for Fallout 3, it means that it's operating on the same general principles. There are different skills and different perks, but it still uses the special system, VATS, and all of that stuff.
Surprised anybody'd want to tangle with you. Heck, you could go Deathclaw hunting with a switch. Well, we know your vitals are good, but that don't mean them bullets didn't leave you nuttered and a bighorn dropping.
Deathclaws don't have switches, they're aminals.
All right. I'm gonna say a word. I want you to say the first thing that comes to mind. Dog.
Dog. Do I win?
Okay. Now, I got a few statements. I want you to tell me how much they sound like something you'd say. First one. Conflict just ain't in my nature.
No, I was taught not to use the word ain't.
Almost done here. What do you say you have a look at this? Tell me what you see.
A picture. Am I done now?
Before I turn you loose, I need one more thing from you. I got a form for you to fill out so I can get a sense of your medical history. Just a formality. Ain't like I expect to find you got a family history of getting shot in the head.
I don't know. I really can't remember. Actually, I'm not even sure my name is Bud. I think it's just what the guy at the courier shop used to call me. Is it called Courier Shop? Yeah, it's got to be called Courier Shop.
All right, I guess that about does it. Come with me, I'll see you out.
Thanks. It's just I have this strange feeling I'm forgetting something.
Here, these are yours. Was all you had on you when you was brought in. I hope you don't mind, but I gave the note a look. I thought it might help me find a next of kin. But it was just something about a platinum chip.
Right. No, the man took the chip, so I'm going to need to go get him. And, electrocute him. I remember something about voltage. To help me out, he gives me his old Pip-Boy and some clothes to wear, so now I can head around town and try to get my bearings. Alright, let's see. I've lost the chip, lost my clothes, and I've lost a big portion of my memory. So we're kind of off to a bad start here. Maybe if I go around town talking to people, it might get the old neurons firing up again. The doc was great for patching me up for nothing, but, well, he wasn't the best conversationalist, and I am a little concerned about a man who responds to a person being shot in the head with, "Quick, get his pants off." Maybe I can ask this guy. He doesn't look terribly busy.
Howdy. What can Easy Pete do for you? Was a prospector until I decided to settle here to get away from the NCR. Now we'll just take it easy and help out with the Brahmin and Bighorners.
Weird, because I do remember someone named Easy Sally, but she didn't do any prospecting at all. Apparently, Easy Pete is not a big fan of the NCR.
Don't get me wrong, the NCR's got a lot of decent folk in it. It's just that they make you part of them whether you like it or not. Towns like Goodsprings and Prim don't stay independent for long, not if you've got something the NCR wants. Still, the NCR keeps the Legion away.
Yeah, I know what you mean, the whole law and order in the post-apocalyptic world kind of thing. I mean, on the one hand, I love the open road, the big sky, and the freedom that it allows. On the other hand, though, I don't like being shot in the head and left in a shallow grave. Oh yeah, speaking of which, do you have anything to maybe help me out on that?
The one in the fancy suit seemed to be calling the shots. That's as much as I know. Other folks in town might know more. Word of advice, though, if you ever catch up with him, watch out. The man's got cold eyes like a snake. Can't be trusted, I'd say.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you can't put your faith in someone who robbed and murdered you, who can you trust?
Cheyenne, stay. Don't worry. She won't bite unless I tell her to.
Well, please don't. I already have more holes than I'm supposed to. After a little talking, she agrees to help me out, although this is not a way I was expecting.
That's the right idea. Look down the sight.
Yeah, I'm looking down the sight. It's just the bullet won't go where I'm telling it to go. I hate this thing.
Nice shot. Well, that's a start. But I don't reckon you came to me to learn to fight sarsaparilla bottles. Tell you what, I gotta go chase geckos away from our water supply anyway. Darn critters are attracted to it. Why don't you come along?
Works for me. I've got my new brain. I'd like to have it on training wheels for a little while, especially if I wind up going against something dangerous. I mentioned this a little earlier. VATS is the Vault-Tec Assisted Targeting System. What VATS does is it stops time and allows you to target specific parts of the body with your weapon. The attack has a percentage chance based upon where you're targeting and what your skill in that particular style of attack is. Now, seeing as how Cheyenne is probably on my side here, I'm not going to want to attack her. I'm going to have to save that for the geckos, these mutated lizard-like creatures.
You're getting the hang of it. There's 2 more wells that still need clearing. You want, you can come along. It'd be worth a few caps to me.
Caps refers to bottle caps, and they're used exactly like money. After the war, of course, money was useless, so eventually the bottle cap, since they couldn't be remanufactured without equipment that wasn't currently working, was accepted as a substitute, something that you could clearly see had not been forged, and was then backed with the valuable commodity of water. Now, the NCR has their own currency, but the problem there was that they made some bad choices, and there was a loss of faith in the money by some of the merchants. So the caps are still a sort of internationally accepted form of currency, whereas the NCR deals basically strictly in their own form of dollars. This proved to be such a good idea that even in Washington, they make use of the bottle cap as a form of currency. Of course, right now, the caps are just a bonus. I really just need kind of to get back in my own head, if you will. Right now, I feel like, well, being shot in the head kind of changes a fella. Oh man, she is going to be pissed. I sure am glad this isn't my fault.
Confound it, Cheyenne. Why'd you have to go running in like that? You were supposed to stay. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have to see me like this. I'm not going to be very good company right now. I did have another thing to teach. But I'll understand if you'd rather I just pay you so you could be on your way.
No, I'm down for it if you're down for it. I just thought that with your dog dead, you might want to go off and shoot something, and I'd rather it not be me.
All right, then. We'll need a couple ingredients to get started. Gonna want some xander root and a brock flower. Let me think now. I know I've seen brock flowers growing up at the graveyard, and I seem to remember there being xander root over by the schoolhouse. Bring those on back to me, and we'll get cooking.
Well, it's a lucky thing we're making healing power, because when I go to the schoolhouse, I find it infested with these oversized praying mantises. But there is one good thing in there, a safe. There are big gaps in my memory, but I can recall very much that I was good at opening these things. In the world of Fallout, safes are kind of like bags of holdings in that it doesn't matter what it looks like, it can hold whatever you want. That's why this particular safe, being about 50% larger than the average subwoofer, can somehow be holding a baseball bat. Alright, next up is to get some of those roots from the graveyard. On the way, we encounter a giant scorpion and some giant flies. I think it's quite clear that radiation makes things big. After dealing with that, Sunny then teaches me how to use those to make the healing powder and also do other kind of cooking-related tasks. This is a tutorial, after all.
Okay. Well, good luck to you. I'm heading back to the Prospector. I could use a drink about now. Hey, do me a favor. Trudy, she's the bartender up at the Prospector. Kind of the town mom. She likes to meet newcomers. She'd be cross with me if I didn't ask you to poke your head in and say hi.
Fine with me as long as she doesn't try to put a bullet into it.
Hey. Hello? Can you help me? My girl is trapped by geckos on the ridge, and I can't get to her. Please, she's going to die. Go up the path, past the broken radio tower, and go to the right. They're at the top of the trail.
Well, I suppose the way everybody else has treated me in this town, the least I could do is pay it forward by helping this guy out. These directions are pretty crap, though. Where the hell is she up here? Alright, that's not her. That's definitely not fresh. Inside of a little campsite up here, there's nothing. I'm gonna have to go down and tell the guy the bad news.
Sorry I tricked you, but thanks for clearing out the geckos. Now I can get to that stash up there, after I deal with you.
Ah, man, so many people in the wasteland are assholes. It's like a few generations pass after nuclear Armageddon and suddenly people don't know how to be decent to each other anymore. So I bash his head in. Really should have been obvious. If I can kill something that he can't, odds are pretty good he can't kill me. It's not like rock, paper, scissors. Just when I was getting my faith in humanity back. Well, I think I'll head back into town. Don't want to head out in the dark just yet, and maybe I can get a little bit more info before taking off. Still trying to get things together here. Remember, I used to sing a song about walking 1,000 miles, but I can't remember Was it a woman or was it two Scottish guys who sang that song? I know it's not important. It just keeps nagging at me.
I'm done being nice. If you don't hand Ringo over soon, I'm going to get my friends and we're burning this town to the ground. Got it?
We'll keep that in mind. Now, if you're not going to buy something, get out. Evening.
Man, everyone outside of this town is a dick, aren't they? I think I'm tempted to stay.
Well, you've been causing quite a stir. Glad I finally got to meet you. Welcome to the Prospector Saloon.
Thanks. So what was that about, Ringo? Weird name. Only Ringo I know was the one in the Bee Gees.
About a week ago, this trader, Ringo, comes into town. Survivor of an attack, he says. Bad men after him. Needs a place to hide. We figured he was just in shock, so we gave him a place to lie low. We didn't actually expect anyone to come after him.
Yeah, Ringo is being pursued by a group called the Powder Gangers. That oh-so-macho-sounding name is actually because they used to work on a chain gang for the NCR in this area, and they wound up getting free and getting all of the blasting powder that was being used in their various... it doesn't really matter. The bad guys have explosives now. The details of why probably don't really matter at that point.
If you were able to get Ringo out of this mess, you'd have a decent reputation around Goodsprings. I'd even set you up with a discount. Of course, helping Ringo would also make the Powder Gangers mad, and they've got a lot of friends out there.
Yeah, well, they don't sound like the type that would just let me pass on the road anyway, so no worries there. So, you know anything about the people that, shot me in the head?
They were having some kind of argument about it, but the guy in the checkered coat kept shushing them. Sounded like they came in from the north through Quarry Junction. If that's the case, I can't say I blame them for not wanting to go back. That whole area is overrun with the kind of critters that just get mad if you shoot them.
Well, funny you should mention that, because I was shot, and I am very angry.
I didn't hear exactly, but the leader was talking about the strip. Fella wants to get there and avoid the 15, he'd have to go east. Take Highway 93 up.
Okay, thanks for the info. Say, do you want me to take a look at your radio there? I used to make a little bit of spare change by repairing electable devices.
Sure, the outside looks okay, but I think something broke on the inside. There'd be caps in it for you. I do like to hear what's going on in the world, and that Mr. New Vegas seems like such a gentleman.
All right. I've had this long enough to be able to say with certainty, brain damage really sucks. Okay, let's check up on Ringo here.
That's close enough. Who are you, and what do you want with me? Sorry about the gun. You just caught me off guard, that's all. We got off to a bad start. Let's say we start over with a friendly game of Caravan. You know how to play?
I hope not, because the only version I know involves a brothel. Instead of playing cards, assuming that that's what he's talking about, he tells me what happened. His caravan was ambushed, and during the fight, a bunch of the Powder Gangers got killed. For some reason, they figure that they deserve revenge for that, and so they're coming after Ringo. I offer to help. I know what this situation is like, but the two of us aren't going to be enough, so he suggests I ask Sunny to maybe round up some help with it. Good idea. Let's hope she doesn't blame me about her dog.
Say no more. I'm in. Joe Cobb talks about leaving us alone if we hand over Ringo, but I know his type. He and his friends will come after the town eventually. However, between you, me, and Ringo, we aren't exactly a force to be reckoned with. A lot of people around here look up to Trudy. If you could convince Trudy to join us, some of the folks in town might decide to help out as well. I know Easy Pete's got a stock of dynamite somewhere, and Chet just got a shipment of leather armor we could borrow. Talk to them as well. Finally, there's a good chance we'll all end up with extra holes in us. So if Doc Mitchell could cough up some extra stim packs, that'd be great.
Leave it to me. After all my time on the road, I know all the ways to sweet talk people.
Now just hold on. I never voted to take on the Powder Gangers. That's 1,000 cap investment you're talking about.
1,000 caps, huh? How much is that valued in, stuff? Hell. All right, maybe I better try somewhere else.
Oh, I'm not much good in a fight with my bum leg. And my supplies are scarce, but I'll give you what I can spare.
Good. If we're real lucky, things will go well, and we won't even need them. We just need to increase our numbers a bit.
So you're planning on taking on Joe Cobb's gang. It's a big risk, but I suppose you have to do what you think is right. All the more reason for me to sit this one out. I'll be rooting for you, though.
I was kind of hoping for a more substantive form of assistance, but, well, there's always Stinky Pete and his explosives. Dynamite will help.
Too dangerous. Gonna kill all yourselves if I let you touch it. Better to leave it buried. Safer that way.
Now, trust me, I had to clear some avalanches in the past there. All you do is you... with the... and then you... ah, shit.
Too dangerous. Sorry. Blow yourself up. Blow your neighbor up. Blow the whole town up.
I'm starting to think that I'm the weak link in this plan.
So what's going on? Did Sonny agree to help us? Well, I guess that means we're ready to go. Unless you think there's something else you can do.
No, I think I've failed to convince enough people already. Any more people I've failed to convince, and they might start working for the other side.
Time to look alive. The Powder Gangers are here to play. At least 6, Joe Cobb included. They look pretty mean. I'll be set up near the store. Let's hope that the gang doesn't manage to make it that far.
Yeah, well, I can't make any promises. I'm going into this thing in a melee role. 6-on-1 are very good odds. Okay, we already know I suck with guns, so is this a baseball bat, tire iron, machete, straight razor, grenade rifle, spear... Wait a second. I have a grenade launcher? Damn, I'm more of a badass than I thought. Okay, on the one hand, those odds are bad. On the other hand, explosives kind of have a built-in margin for error, so... what the hell? Alright, well, no wonder I suck with guns. I've spent my whole life going, aim? Oh yeah, just that general direction.
I owe you a huge favor for this. Here, these are technically Crimson Caravan funds, but I know they'll understand once I explain things.
Thanks. I have the feeling I'm going to need to buy some more explosives very soon.
I'll stick around for a bit longer, but I'll be gone in a few days. If you ever visit New Vegas, look me up at the Crimson Caravan camp.
I'll probably do that. It'll be nice to have somebody on the inside when I show up. Well, time to loot these corpses. Oh, I'm sorry, I mean to prospect these corpses. And I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles if I could just see you tonight. There. Now people have to respect me. I've got a hat. Before I should go, I should see what's up with the robot that dug me up. I admit I'm kind of curious. I've run into a lot of robots, I think. I have this impression that they were all pretty basic, that this is the kind of thing that they wouldn't normally do.
Howdy, partner. Might I say you're looking fit as a fiddle? Don't mention it. I'm always ready to lend a helping hand to a stranger in need.
Well, guess I'm not the only one that had his egg scrambled.
I moseyed into town, 10, 15 years ago. Before that, I can't quite seem to recall. Odd. Anyway, it's a right peaceful town, and I reckon it's as fine a place to settle as any.
Yeah, I agree with you. If I was the settling type, I might consider it, but... nope, the open road calls, I'm afraid, and... it was nice recovering here, certainly, but I've got to find the platinum chip, make that guy pay for what he did, make sure that chip gets to where it's supposed to go, of course, and also try to get back to my life. Because I can tell I've got this all straightened out. All the neurons are firing properly once again, and definitely back to my old self. Time to get out there and shake things up.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who gets up next to you. And if I heaver, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who's heavering to you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down that sea.